Hey, what's up you guys? I'm here for another video. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be talking about health and my journey through health, kind of what I've been through in the last couple of, probably 4 or 5 years, and kind of tell you my story and kind of the journey I've been on with my own personal health. So yeah, I'm just going to jump into the story. I'm going to be talking about a couple of topics today. I'm going to be talking about Accutane, birth control, acne, and all kinds of stuff that goes along with those topics and kind of what happened to me in my experience. So when I was around about 19 to 20, I started having very, very, very severe cystic acne. And basically, you guys have probably heard of cystic acne. It's the acne that's really kind of deeply rooted under the skin, and it's really hard and it hurts and it's painful, and there's a lot of inflammation involved with this type of acne. And yeah, so I was 19 and I was living in Redding, California at the time, and out of nowhere, I was on a trip from Arizona to Redding to go back for the school year. And I literally overnight, I stayed at this hotel, woke up the next day, and literally was covered, like my entire face was covered in acne. Went from like 0 to like 100, and I was like freaking out. I didn't know what it was. Looking back, I think I had an allergic reaction to something that caused my skin to just literally flare up and like freak out. So when I say acne, you know, like some people get spots, I'm talking about the severe cyst. Like my entire face was covered like a pizza. Like you wouldn't, if you had known me then and now, you wouldn't even have recognized me. Like I look at photos and I don't even recognize myself. And it was super painful. It felt like my entire face was swollen all the time, like just super bad pain. It was really, really hard time for me, and I know that might sound silly and like a first world problem, but honestly, I was one of those people that you see on the commercial where it's like so severe that even my doctors were like, you are the perfect candidate for Accutane. So after about 2 years of literally trying to avoid Accutane, of course doing all this stuff to try to help, nothing was working. So during this time, I started to study about the body a lot, started to get really interested in health. I mean, I've always been interested in health, but I started to really dive deep into it because I just didn't know what the hell was going on with my skin. And yeah, so that kind of took me on a rabbit trail of researching and all this stuff. I was eating healthy, comparatively to how I was eating, but now I eat even more healthier than I used to. So I was, thinking it could be diet, and I still believe that it had to do something with my body, which I'll go into later and probably in another separate video. But in this video, I'm just going to kind of explain my entire journey here. So 2 years of trying to figure it out. It got to the point where it started to really affect me emotionally. Like, I started to get depressed. I felt like I couldn't leave the house with any makeup, and I was just in pain. Literally, I had cysts everywhere, like all over my chest, like super painful. I remember I went on a mission trip, and I was like mortified to go on the mission trip simply because I had such severe painful acne, and I didn't want people to see me without makeup. And it was just a really hard time. It definitely affected my confidence. I'm already a little bit more of a shy person when I first meet people. So to have that added bonus of like crazy acne and being in kind of like a college group or a college stage of your life where you're constantly meeting people was really hard for me. I felt like I wasn't fully myself. I felt really ashamed about it. So yeah, anyways, had this acne. Eventually, after trying lots of things, I even did a juice fast for like 14 days. Didn't really work, but I believe it could have if I had done certain things. But anyways, I ended up getting on Accutane. And I really didn't want to, but at this point it was so bad and so painful that like I was just out of options. Now I took the not specifically Accutane, but like the off-brand, so Roa Accutane or something like that. So went on that for about 5 months, and if you've ever taken Accutane, you also have to get on birth control, which I wasn't really keen on because I just hadn't had a good experience with birth control and it making my moods crazy and just feeling kind of whack. So I got on Accutane, got on birth control, did the Accutane for 5 months. My skin did clear up, which I was excited about. But then I was on the birth control and just decided to stay on because honestly, I was mortified of getting off the birth control because, they say that birth control can kind of help your acne. So I was just like, I'm just gonna stay on. My skin is finally great for the first time in my life. Like, I'm not getting off birth control. So stayed on it, and I am currently still on it, but I'm actually gonna get off of it, and I'm gonna talk to you guys about that too. This might be, this video is gonna end up being probably like 5 other videos that kind of spring off this video. So yeah, just kind of telling you my journey, but so I got on my birth control. And then after Accutane, I started to have some really severe symptoms. The biggest one for me was the joint pain. Now, if you ever get on Accutane, they tell you that joint pain is expected. And so I just kept thinking like, man, like I'm still having I had joint pain when I was on it to the point where like, I remember being out with someone and my hip literally gave out on me, like just completely gave out on me. We were like rollerblading or something or biking. My hip gave out and I remember like not being able to walk on my hip for a while, which seemed really extreme. But I just kept thinking, oh, okay, like they told me this might happen on Accutane. Like I just need to like maybe give it like 5 or 6 months and see if my joints feel better. Well, 5 or 6 months later, I started to have just more and more joint pain. And I'm like, this is really not getting better. In fact, it's getting worse. And at the time, I grew up dancing a lot, and I was like 21 at this point, and I kind of wanted to get back into dancing just for fun and take some dance classes. But because of the joint pain, I wasn't able to do any of that. I wasn't able to ride a bike. And then about a year passed, and I started to have some really serious problems. Like I was in so much pain. I had joint pain everywhere, my back, my neck. I remember being at a party at our house and it felt like someone like stabbed me in the back. Like I had the most intense spasms I've ever had in my life and pain, and I think some pinched nerves. And I remember it felt like someone literally punched me as hard as they could in the stomach, and I like hunched over and was in shearing pain. I couldn't walk at the party. I had to lay down the rest of the night. I was in bed for 3 days, and then the whole week I was in pain and had severe fatigue, brain fog, and I'm someone who has a fairly high pain tolerance. Like I'm not one of those people that like, if they feel pain, they complain. I tend to be someone who, when I'm in pain, I kind of push through it. But this pain was like about a 7 or 8 on the pain scale for my back. It got to the point where I could no longer work out, couldn't dance. I couldn't get on a bike at all because my hip would be in so much pain. There were days where I had to wear slippers in our house that was like hardwood floor because it literally hurt me to walk on the hardwood floor. I couldn't walk on concrete for very long. Picking up stuff, like even just like something small, like bending over, I was in so much pain. I actually remember asking my roommate, like, hey, can you pick that up off the floor? Because I literally couldn't. So this went on for literally a year and a half. And it was an extremely painful time for me. I didn't know what was wrong. I literally felt like an 80-year-old in a 22-year-old body, or 23 at this point. I'm 26 now, so just to kind of give you the timeline of everything. So super in pain. I didn't know what was going on. I started researching like crazy. I was having to rest every day. I honestly just thought this was what my life was going to be like. I was like, I'm going to be an 80-year-old in a 23-year-old body. And it was extremely depressing for me. I remember just thinking like, I'm not gonna be able to do anything like at all. And I'm someone who I don't work out all the time, but I like to stay fairly physically active. So not doing that like even elevated the depression. And so right before all this happened, I also went through a pretty like really gruesome breakup that was just really, really tough on me. And I think some of that, like mentally and the emotional aspect of that, also caused me like extra exhaustion. But there was definitely something wrong. So anyways, was living with some roommates. They kind of all knew the situation. I kind of told them like, hey, like I feel really sick like all the time. I was having like flu-like symptoms too. Like every day my energy was super, super low. And like, I'm someone who could like sleep with like 6 or 7 hours of sleep and be fine. Like I've kind of always been like that. And I was sleeping like 9 hours, wake up and feel like exhausted. So this went on for 1.5 to 2 years, and I eventually moved back home to Houston because I was like, my health isn't good. Like I kind of told my parents like, you know, I just need to come home and like go see a doctor and yada, yada, yada. So moved back home, was seeing a rheumatologist. They were like, honestly, like your tests are coming back fine. Like nothing looks wrong. Like we don't know what the issue is. So that was really discouraging because I'm like, I'm in so much pain and you're literally telling me nothing is wrong, which isn't their fault. Like they are taught what they are taught, and they're not, you know, there's just some things that the medical industry doesn't teach doctors. So I was like, screw that. Like I'm going to get to the bottom of this because I know there's something wrong with me. So I ended up doing, another 14-day juice fast, and on that juice fast I literally felt like all my symptoms go, and I was like, well, this is weird. So then that kind of led me to believe that I probably have some type of food sensitivity. Now I don't think I originally had a food sensitivity, but I think because of Accutane I developed a food sensitivity, and if I'll go into that more in another video. But basically I was like, I had all these crazy symptoms that I didn't have pre-Accutane. So I ended up doing, I mean, at this point, I don't know how many hours a week I was studying stuff. I ended up getting on some natural enzymes that kind of helped the joints and inflammation in the body. And honestly, all of it's like super connected. But yeah, so got on these enzymes, they were helping, did this juice fast, and eventually found out that through food elimination that I had a sensitivity to gluten. So I realized that like most of my joint pain was coming from gluten, which is crazy. So I ended up kind of testing it. Every time I eat gluten, I mean, I would have joint pain, high inflammation in my body, I'd feel sick. So I was like, wow, like this is literally all from gluten, which I think it's all kind of systematic and in the body, but that was the main culprit of what was going on with me. So yeah, so got off gluten, slowly started to feel better, was able to work my way up to like even jogging a little bit, was able to work my way up like about 7 to 8 months later to ride a bike. And I've slowly in the past 2 years been working my way up and am an almost complete painless free now through health and nutrition and a bunch of other things that I'll talk about in other videos. But and now I'm kind of realizing that a lot of stuff's going on with my body that I think birth control is contributing to. So it's been quite the journey through acne and pain and food sensitivities and all kinds of weird stuff, thyroid stuff, my hair thinning when I was 15, like out of nowhere, like literally half my hair just thinned out and I didn't know what was going on, and I was really like devastated because I mean, it's a weird thing to say, but for girls, like your hair is literally like something that you can be attached to. And I remember like half my hair just like coming out, and my hair completely changed as well. Like it used to be like literally super thick and like ringlets. Like I was one of those people, like I would wake up and my hair would be in full ringlets, and now my hair is not like that at all. So anyways, guys, I just wanted to give you kind of a quick version of my health journey in a shorter video, even though it's already like 15 minutes. But I'm going to talk about a lot of these topics on my channel, and I'm really passionate about health and holistic healing. I'm all about it. So I'm really hoping that through this I can help some people and just kind of give you guys all this knowledge that I have studied over for the past couple of years and kind of my journey and you know, the endocrine system and birth control and holistic healing and the gut, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to give you a little video of like my story and what I've been through in the past couple of years. It's still kind of a battle with me. I don't do good with dairy. I don't do good with gluten. Like just all kinds of stuff. I have to eat pretty clean. I don't use any chemicals in my products, except I do have a couple of makeup products that I still use, but generally I've kind of moved more into a more kind of natural way of like living and of what I put in my body. So yeah, thanks so much for watching this video. I know it's a little bit long, and I know it's kind of fast what I was saying, but I kind of just wanted to jump into a couple of topics. And I want to go into like birth control and Accutane and like a lot of other videos even more in depth, but I just thought that I would share with you. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.